If you're going to take the risk of running advertising online, shouldn't you get the benefits of learning from someone who's in the platforms every second of the day? Welcome to bidpixel.com's Marketing Ear Biscuits, the original podcast dedicated to digital advertising run by two Aussie guys who ride around in kangaroo pouches and drink Fosters and 4X beer.
Hey guys, Dave here from BidPixel. Just wanted to have a bit of a deep and meaningful with you this morning for this podcast and vlog. It's going to be a bit of a solo cast this morning. I've let Jay do some work. Truth be told, it's actually a little bit early in the morning and he hasn't even logged in for the day. I want to talk to you today about how long is too long to follow up with a lead. Now, part of BidPixel's role with helping customers is lead generation. And lead generation can come in a few different forms, whether it's a lead straight through someone's website, a Facebook advertising lead, or maybe even a chatbot lead that comes through. And I want to talk about who's the most successful sales sort of companies that we work with when we generate a lead, and why we're hearing more and more often, not necessarily from our customers, but from people on the internet and people from forums, is that the quality of leads are crap coming from Facebook ads or Google ads. I guess the big overarching thing there is generating a lead is more accessible than ever, right? It's generating a lead on Facebook or Instagram or through your website now is a lot easier to do. The path of resistance is a lot less, but there's a lot more competition in doing that. Now, generating a lead online is nothing like a word-of-mouth marketing lead. It's not someone referring you, and it's not a really warm lead. It really is a cold lead, and it needs to be treated as a cold lead. With the act of the internet becoming so big and the ease and ability for someone to talk to you and view your website and also view two of your competitors' websites, and within 5 minutes they can fill in an inquiry form or contact you and two of your main competitors. And it's all about who comes through with the best customer service and who comes through with the best after sales care and support while they're making that consideration. So you all know that you need to be chasing clients on social media, right? The issue that we're finding now is the general consumer just wants instant gratification. So they can put a lead form through on your website at 11 o'clock at night, and sadly this generation and the people who are using the internet these days want to reply back straight away. Now, you can start educating people once they get a lead through email nurturing sequences or through a chatbot sequence or through generating content on your website and driving them to the content that answers their questions. That can be done, say, at an overnight lead that comes through. But what about the leads that come through during business hours? And this big wave of instant gratification means that people want to hear from you straight away. And oftentimes we'll find, and in the studies that we've gone through, which I'll give you some stats in a second, is if they aren't hearing from you within about 15 minutes, they've already moved on and they've already made an opinion of your business and your brand, and they will keep on making inquiries until they find someone who actually talks to them straight away. So waiting to call web leads ruins contact and qualification rates. Delaying a follow-up will ultimately minimize your sales prospects, and it kind of inflates your cost per conversion really fast. Most salespeople give up far too quickly, and that's one thing that we've found really relevant in the work that we do with different brands. And salespeople these days just don't go the extra mile, and they are giving up way too quickly. So we have found personally that doubling a lead qualification rate requires 10 calls on average. 80% of calls end in a voicemail these days, and 90% of voicemails go unreturned. So you can't rely on leaving one voice message and thinking that you've done the world's best job in sales. You need to be following these people up. In line with that instant gratification, calls within 15 minutes need to happen, right? If you don't call back someone within 15 minutes, they've already looked elsewhere and they're already going to consider someone else. They've probably found 3 other brands that do exactly the same thing as you do. We've found that mornings are slightly more effective for making follow-up calls for website contacts or Facebook contacts. Mornings are slightly more effective in that you get people when they're fresher and their schedule's a little bit freer, and they've got a clearer or more clarity about what they're doing with their day. If you have to choose a certain days for follow-up, if you physically can't be following up your leads straight away, then the middle of the week is usually best. Mondays are usually a write-off for people, and Fridays you're not going to get a very good decision out of them. So from the studies we've done, the average time is about 48 hours for a sales inquiry to be returned. If you can just do better than that, so if you can do better than 48, it's actually 46. If you can do better than 46 hours to return a sales call, you are doing better than the average person. 60% of buyers are also saying that they kind of start losing trust or losing a positive opinion of a brand if they don't hear back within 24 hours. So it comes back to that instant gratification of website leads and social marketing leads right now. They're online, so why aren't you? And I guess that's sadly the personality traits that people are having these days. Look, it's no secret, and it makes sense that that the first company to contact a buyer generally holds the advantage. If you can be the first of your two other competitors and you that make contact with a person, you generally will hold the advantage. If you've got a fantastic sales persona, if you can have a fantastic conversation, they'll qualify you quicker and you can qualify them quicker. We personally at BidPixel here qualify twice as many leads answering the inquiry within 5 minutes of it coming in. So we can close twice as many leads. So we can close about 36% of our leads coming through if we answer it within 5 minutes. We can only close about 20% of our leads coming through if we don't answer them within that 5 minutes. We generate leads a few different ways. So we've got website leads, Facebook, so social media, inbox leads. We use live chat on our website. We've got phone calls, and we've got a live answering system for our phone number. I don't know if you've ever called us, but if one of us don't physically answer the call, we pay a company in Sydney that answers and says, BidPixel speaking, who would you like to speak to? Can I take your message? It's a real person that answers at every point of the way when you make contact with us. One of the most effective ways for us to make contact with a prospect is through the live messaging on our website. It works really, really well, and we can answer their questions quite fast, very quickly. So next thing that we've worked out in our studies is the average number of calls to close a lead after a quick follow-up is about 1.7, so 1.5 times. So we can generally close a customer after 1.7 calls when the initial point of contact was made straight away or within 5 minutes. The average number of calls that we need to close a lead after waiting a longer period of time is about 3.8 or 4 calls. So getting in front of someone while they're thinking about you, while the topic is hot and while they're actively researching, gives you literally half the time to actually try and qualify and close that person down the track. Now, if you can go from 1.5 or 2 calls to if you can change it from about 4 calls to close someone to 2 or 1.5 calls to close someone, there's a lot of man hours that you've won back in your business there, and there's a lot more sales and lead generation that you can do with that time that you've won back. We personally have a saying within BidPixel. Now, it can come off a little bit aggressive, but it's kind of what's needed these days to actually make a sales process work. And this saying that I'll share with you in a second comes about from 2 different ways of doing sales. One is our inbound inquiries, where we're getting back in contact with people who have reached out to us, and the second would be our outbound inquiries. So cold calling or cold emailing or sending cold videos to people that we would potentially like to work with. Now, the saying that we've got in the business is get an order or a restraining order. And it's a bit of a joke that we use, but if you're not working hard enough to get in front of a prospect or to close a deal, if you're not bordering on them getting a restraining order for you for not wanting to let go and not wanting to give up, you aren't hearing their objections, you aren't giving them a chance to talk, you aren't being receptive to hearing what they need from you, and you aren't doing sales all that well. Getting an order or a restraining order means that you've exhausted all options with that customer. Now, we do that ethically, right? We're not arseholes when it comes to calling. We do look for triggers, and we do look for client objections, and if it's objections that just don't fit, or if we don't see a clear path to success, we move on. But I think sales these days, and especially millennials in sales, is they just give up after the first call, or they give up after the first try. And if you don't have the strength to push past that, you're not going to grow your business effectively. So, how long is too long to follow up a lead? let's just go through the cliff notes or the top takeaways for this session. It's you need to be confident and have a knowledgeable person following up these phone calls. It's not a task that you should be giving to your introverted staff member. I've got Dean sitting here next to me chuckling away because he knows it happens, right? Dean generates amazing leads for our customers, and he knows the customers that the leads are getting followed up from, and he knows the customers that the leads aren't getting followed up from in a timely manner. And we can see the results in their business when they do follow up their leads in a timely manner. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the best salesperson in a business, or the best person to answer objections and have product knowledge and close deals, is usually going to be the owner. And that's probably something that Dean resonates to when he does leads for customers as well, is the brands that give their leads to the receptionist or to the Filipino EA or the wife who doesn't really want to be in the business but's forced to kind of do the books or payroll or something, those leads often go on deaf ears and don't get closed. You need to find the confident and knowledgeable person to be following up the leads, and they need to happen within probably a 15-minute window of coming in. It's that whole instant gratification thing. So that's the next point. Follow up your leads within 15 minutes, or honestly, don't bother these days. People with social media leads and website leads want instant gratification, and they'll look elsewhere if they don't get it from you. You need to follow up your leads after the first phone call. Even if you do get in front of your leads within the first 15 minutes, there's still that processor period, or that period of time, which is called sales, right? And you do need to be following up. You do need to making notes. Get yourself one of the free CRMs that are available these days. HubSpot, Agile, Insightly. There's a ton of different free CRMs that can hold that data for you, track tasks, remind you to call people, but you need to be doing that. People are really quick to inquire these days, and when they're really quick to inquire with you, they're really quick to inquire with your competitors, but they still take longer to make a purchase decision. If you've got a high value product, they're going to take even longer. If you're a builder who's charging tens of thousands of dollars, they're not going to sign up straight away. If you've got a product that's a couple of dollars, yes, you may get a quicker sales process, but that's to be expected, right? So, top takeaways. Call your leads as soon as you get them. A 15-minute window is probably the max you want to take to be calling them. If you're getting leads overnight, or if you're getting leads when you can't get back to them, nurture them somehow. Put them through an email sequence, send them to a blog post, put them into a chatbot sequence, or make sure that they are finding out more about your business and you're drip feeding your brand to them until you get a chance to talk to them again. Don't leave the receptionist or the introverted staff member to follow up your sales leads. It really needs to be someone with amazing product knowledge and the ability to call again. Guys, I hope this helps. We do a lot of lead generation. We see the businesses that are successful and we cringe at the ones that aren't, to be honest. It takes a certain skill to do sales well, and we'd love to work with you if you're a business that just doesn't know how to do this, because we are refining the process ourselves every single day and we're getting better and better at it. But I think probably the number one takeaway, which we didn't discuss just then, would be lead with a motivation and an education, and don't lead with a buy my stuff, or don't lead with a discounting mentality. If you can get in contact with someone within 15 minutes, if you can follow them up, and if you can educate them and motivate them, they're far more likely to do business with you and purchase from you rather than one of the competitors. All right, guys. Dave from BidPixel. Bless you guys. That was a cool little episode. Love to see your feedback in the comments below.